Aloha and welcome to this presentation of the Vegan Society of Hawaii. Since 1990, we've been following our mission of promoting human health, animal rights, and protection of the environment by means of whole food, plant-based vegan education. Today, we're really thrilled to have two animal rescuers give a presentation on building Aloha Animal Sanctuary, how community came together to save farmed animals. We have with us Lolita Ayala, who is the Executive Director of Aloha Animal Sanctuary, and Jessica Palomino, who is not only a co-founder, but the current Director of Public Relations. Aloha and welcome, Jess and Lolita.
Today, we're going to be talking about building Aloha Animal Sanctuary, how our whole community came together to do this. First, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who is taking time out of your busy lives to attend and listen to us talk. It means so much to us. And this whole, the whole sanctuary has been constantly just people coming together to support us. And we just feel so grateful for all of you. It takes a whole village to do this. And just even every single one of you showing up for this today just helps further our mission and help us continue to do this work. So thank you so much for all of that. I hope that you guys find our presentation captivating and inspiring. We're going to start by telling you a little bit about how the sanctuary started, and then also the work we're currently doing and where we hope to go in the future. And then I also just want to say a special thank you to the Veg Society of Hawaii for hosting us, especially Lorraine. Thank you for organizing this and facilitating this for us. The Veg Society of Hawaii has been doing this work for so many years, and really you guys laid the foundation for my generation of animal rights activists to get to meet and collaborate. And I really mean it when I look at the work that the sanctuary was done, and I see it as a ripple effect of all the work done by so many amazing vegans and animal rights people long before us. So thank you. It's an honor to be doing this work with all of you. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera over to my partner, Lolita, my executive director.
Thank you, Jess and Lorraine, and the VEG Society for inviting us today. We're really excited. So thank you for having us, and we're excited to share our story and for you to be part of it.
I'm so honored to work with Lolita. She just joined. She's been with the sanctuary from day one, but she just stepped into this executive director role at the beginning of this year, and it's been huge for our team. So just want to say thank you, Lolita, because we're so appreciative to have you. We are going to just jump in to the story of how the sanctuary got started. But before we do that, I want to show you guys one of our best videos, one of our best rescue stories that the sanctuary has done. It's all about our little piggy named Paxton. So I'm going to play this quick video for you.
I was walking along the beach and all of a sudden I see this collapsed wild boar. I could see it in his eyes. It was almost like he was asking for help.
You're going to be okay.
I built this little protective fort around him. For 1 week, I was with him from sunup to sundown.
Poor baby.
He was probably shot by a human or caught in a human trap. Everybody that I spoke with would not help me. I was feeling very scared, but I couldn't just leave him there. He deserved to live.
You're gonna make it. Look how strong you are. You're strong. So he doesn't like tomatoes or cucumbers or tangerines, but look at the apples. He's crazy about apples.
All day long, it was just me and him.
More? Here you go.
The fact that he trusted me, that was huge because it went against anything that he could have thought. He never tried to bite me, even when I touched his hurt leg and was trying to see what was going on.
See how swollen that is?
He knew that I was trying to help him. We finally found a mobile vet that would come out there several times to treat Paxton. Eventually, we found a sanctuary that would take him. The entire week was absolutely surreal.
When Paxton arrived to the sanctuary, he couldn't stand, clean himself or anything on his own. You can see that his injured foot right here is shaking. Right here. But he showed us with his eyes, despite his condition, he wanted to try. So we just listened to him.
Okay.
2 weeks after I was bathing Paxton and I was preparing to flip him to clean his other side, and I watched him think about getting up.
He's standing! What a miracle! He did it! You did it, sweetie.
I was freaking out because until that moment, I did not know if he would make it.
Good boy, Paxton. Good boy.
He stayed there like that for 5 minutes, just absorbing it all. Slowly, he started to walk.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Good job, Paxton.
I knew then, at that moment, that he was going to make it. If he can do this, then he can do much more.
Look at you. Oh my gosh. Good job.
Eventually, he started digging. I could see him making his enclosure what he wanted it to be. He was adding his own renovations and just having a good time.
You're a silly, silly boy.
Paxton, are you in here? Who's there? Is that Mr. Paxton? Now, a year after Paxton's arrival, he gets to be his wild self with all the benefits of living at the sanctuary. He values his peace and solitude, but he will often follow me to tempt me to rub his belly. And it's very funny because his belly is often covered in mud. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I feel like having my hand covered in mud right now. I still got a lot of things to do, but he'll flop down to the ground, like give me a massage. And I'll do that with him and he'll just soak it all in. He loves gentleness and relaxation. He's done with fighting for his life. He's retired. He just wants to chill and have a good time. Paxton is a pig that has gone through so much and then is somehow able to move forward despite all odds and not become bitter and mean. He wasn't supposed to walk, but he is. He wasn't supposed to live, but he is. And he wasn't supposed to be kind or trusting or forgiving, but he chose to be. It's really incredible what he's done.
I was looking for activists or other like-minded people. And that's how I met the other co-founders of the sanctuary. So we were doing street activism in Waikiki. This picture is so intimidating to look back on, but what we would do is we would wear these masks and we would hold TVs and we would just show like actual footage of factory farming and the realities of what animals face. And it was actually, even though I think now, in hindsight, it looks confrontational, but we were really non-confrontational. It was just people could approach us and then we would talk to them about the realities. And it was really instigated by people wanting to learn more. So we were doing a lot of outreach. While we were doing that outreach, we get asked a lot, like, what's the difference between harvesting vegetables and harvesting an animal? And people were genuinely asking us this question. They really didn't understand. And that kind of really brought it home for me how much of a disconnect people have developed between their food and, where it comes from. So the 4 co-founders, we started discussing this idea of creating a farmed animal sanctuary here on Oahu. So I just want to say from left to right, standing on the far left is Nick Pecoraro, one of our co-founders, and he was a huge animal rights activist here in Hawaii while he was here. That's me. And then Anchi Howitz is next to me, and then Hannah Mizuno. So we had met doing that animal rights activism, and then we started talking about this idea, this concept. We all knew we wanted to create something, a space to improve the welfare of farmed animals, but we all kind of had a different approach to it, and we all brought that together. And I really think that helped benefit the mission of the sanctuary. For example, Nick, like I said, he's a solid activist through and through. He's so passionate about confronting injustice and fighting against it, not just in animal rights, but for the LGBTQ community and many other marginalized peoples. So he really brought that fire. Anchi, she was working as a massage therapist outside. She had a business degree, and she really envisioned bringing a space of wellness and self-care to the sanctuary. So from day one, she envisioned having a spa at the sanctuary that people could also get massages and care for themselves while we also are caring for others. And Hannah was always extremely passionate about sustainable, minimalist, and environmentally minded living. She had done a lot of off-grid living, and she wanted to bring that to the sanctuary as well. So I just kind of tell you this to lay the framework so you can see how it all transpired over the years. So we knew we wanted to start an animal sanctuary. We didn't know how, but we knew we had to start somewhere. So we started looking for agricultural land. Of course, if you live in Hawaii, you know that agricultural land is not cheap. 1 acre you can expect to pay $400,000 for, and you don't even know if that's going to have water or be near anybody. Our search in the beginning, I mean, we weren't finding anything. It was really hard, and we were thinking, you know, are we going to be able to pull this off? In our search for land, we came across a listing for Haku, the cutest spotted pig that we ever did see, and we went to meet him. He was meant to be sold for slaughter. At that time, it was 1 week before Thanksgiving, and so they were going to sell him for slaughter. When we met him, we were completely moved. I like to just emphasize that all the animals we meet, they really all pull at our heartstrings, and we want to rescue them all. I think the thing that was with Haku is he was one of the first ones we met, so we didn't know how many more were going to come, but we rescued Haku. We made that decision. We rescued Haku before we had land. So it's kind of an impulsive decision, but it really propelled us into action. We had actually been offered the opportunity to rent a small parcel of land in Kahalu. And when we had agreed to rescue Haku, we decided, okay, let's just go ahead and move forward with this. This does seem like a good option. This has kind of been a prevailing theme in the sanctuary, though. Anytime that we ran into a barrier or we needed something, it seemed like it always presented itself. Somebody came with that skill. Somebody came with that resource. Like, it has been so incredible to see the sanctuary over the years and have somebody step up and help us every step of the way. Our heroes in this case, our angels, were Melissa and John Burns. They are the owners of the 2-acre sanctuary land that the sanctuary resides on. They actually have been, especially Melissa, it was a long time bird rehabber and animal rescuer. She bought this land with the vision of building an animal sanctuary. So it's so fortuitous because our co-founder, Anchi, had met Melissa while volunteering at another local horse rescue that actually closed. She let her know, you know, we have this team and we really want to create an animal sanctuary. And I mean, what are the chances that you talk to somebody and they say, well, I have this land and I really want an animal sanctuary to be built on it. So it just worked out so perfectly. The sanctuary started this relationship just renting the land, but now we're so fortunate that the sanctuary, it's in a trust, so the sanctuary will own this land for years to come, you know, forever. So it was just the best case scenario, really. And just to show you, in the beginning, when we first moved to the land, we had some mock-ups, and I just really like to look at these old pictures because if you visit the sanctuary, we're going to give you a little tour, but it's just changed so much from this. And this was originally our vision. You know, we thought we would just have these 2 little animal enclosures, and it's incredible to see what it's become today. So we began the construction of the sanctuary and the formation of a community. We had just 1 month, the month of December, to get the area ready for our first resident to come, Haku. So we had always been completely volunteer run. We had all volunteers come and build Haku's space. And the land was originally just completely covered in California grass, trash. We had to do so much work to prep it, but we had all the volunteers coming to help us. We brought Haku home. We actually had this really cute article in the Star Advertiser that came out and did a feature. And I love that picture because it's like, you can just see Haku smiling. He's so full of expression all the time. He's such a photogenic pig. But on the last day of 2018, New Year's Eve, we were able to bring Haku home. And that just really was the beginning of our sanctuary journey. Now we just want to switch gears a little bit, talk to you about what a farmed animal sanctuary really is. A farmed animal sanctuary to us is a place where farmed animals can live their lives free of any use, exploitation, or violence. So we really see the animals as the individuals that they are, who they are, deserving of love and respect. So we are not a petting zoo. We're not a place of entertainment for humans. We're here for the animals first and foremost. In creating a healing space for animals, we did see that we created a very healing space for humans too, which has been such a nice consequence of that, but we are primarily here for the animals. With that, I'm going to pass over the time to Lolita Ayala. She's going to keep explaining.
So our mission really is to provide a space for neglected, abused, and or abandoned animals, and to promote compassion to these animals through public engagement and education. And that public engagement really consists of from social media education to partnerships such as through the VEG Society, Visitors Day, Volunteer Days. We do have schools that come out and we partner up with Girl Scouts and things like that to really promote that compassion towards these animals through that engagement. So when we look at our vision is, to create a culture where humans practice compassion and respect for all species. We created a space for farmed animals, but also for the entire community to come together. And it's a safe space to just come together and talk story. Sometimes it's, not just volunteering weekly, but sometimes going 2, 3, 4 times a week to kind of have that opportunity to just kind of recenter yourself or have that connection with a resident and just be around with other like-minded individuals as well. Through our vision, we have the sustainable, environmentally minded, and love-based approach that we have as we focus on our mission. Thanks, Jess. We have 4 pillars, 4 value pillars, and 2 of those are compassion and community. So when we look at compassion, focus on that, promoting that compassion for our farmed animals that we have not only at the sanctuary, that we've had an opportunity to provide a safe space and a space that they will live their forever life and not be neglected or abused. They all have very unique stories, ultimately providing them a space where they can be them and provide them that respect given the neglect or abuse that they have encountered. For community, it's a safe space for people who care about farmed animals and to gather and collaborate in different ways and to further gain access to resources such as education. And so our other 2 pillars include education and sustainability. We educate the public about proper farmed animal care and ways that they can get involved and affect change and what that looks like. And then sustainability, we strive to ensure everything we do at the sanctuary is sustainable, both from an organizationally through strategic planning and environmentally. And you can hear a theme of education and outreach and providing a safe community. We are really focused on providing those resources, that information through various outlets of storytelling and really linking it back to research, scientific research, studies, and connecting through storytelling how environmentalism, humanitarianism, and animal rights are all linked together. And that we can share through our storytelling of our residents that we have at the sanctuary. Meet our sanctuary ohanas. I wish we had time to tell you all the stories of the 30 plus residents that we have, but we will share some of the stories of some of our residents. But we do have anywhere from goats, chickens, pigs, cats, sheep, ducks, quails, and of course our most recent resident, Coco the turkey, which you will get to meet here shortly. This is Eleanor. So meet Eleanor. I call her Queen Eleanor because she deserves that and more.
Eleanor is our oldest piggy here. She's about 13, 14 years old. The white stuff on her back is sunscreen. Oh. We make our homemade sunscreen here, and we have to put it on her because her skin is so fair. But Eleanor was was also a really sad case of neglect. She was being kept in a small pen and bred and sold, all her babies sold every year, every few months. And she was completely skin and bones and just living in her own way. So this woman who was cleaning an Airbnb right next to where Eleanor lived, she saw her and she also advocated for her release. So again, there's really sad stories, but there's also so many stories of people stepping in and doing what's right and helping advocate. But it was really funny, she got taken from that place to this two little senior ladies farm and their little home in Haleiwa, and they took care of her for 6 months, and that they were struggling. She's hard to take care of, so when they reached out to us, we were really happy to bring her here. But she's super sweet, and all you do, if I just start rubbing on her belly, she'll probably flop over. I want to show how you love your belly rubs? Now she won't do it.
She's just happy the way she is.
Yeah, but they love belly rubs. All of them do. And we'll get to meet, we'll go down and we'll meet some of the other little piggies, and everybody can get a chance to pet them more.
What happened to her ear?
So Eleanor's ear, we think it could either be, how in farms they'll tag their ears, they do ear notches. Her ear could have possibly been injured through that, or it could have been a dog fight, a dog attack. We really don't know, but she came to us with a shredded ear. And you can also see her tail has been what they call docked. That's again another standard farming practice. So you see Haku actually has his tail, but Eleanor doesn't have hers. And then we just barely installed all this gravel, which is huge because Kahalu, it rains so much, and it does turn into a mud pit really quick with the pigs. They're really talented at tilling the ground, and so this was like a huge fundraising and labor of love. We're so happy to have this now. And they still have access to a whole acre down below, which you can kind of see our piggy back there going to. So we'll keep walking. You'll get to see all of the different terrain that they have.
So then our next resident is Coco the turkey. So Coco is actually a royal palm turkey.
Coco basically is an example of chicks that get raised and sold. So he came from the Kaneohe Farm and Feed Supply Store. And if you've ever been in there, they have a bunch of just chicks, and they have them all crammed together in the different, little crates. And Coco was being kept with baby chicken chicks. And so she was just in the corner. She was almost near dead. They didn't think that she was going to make her. And they didn't think she was going to make it. And one of the owner of the sanctuary land, Melissa, I need to talk more about her too. She saw Coco and she asked the feed store, can I please take Coco? Because this chick looks like they're not even going to make it. And the feed store agreed, but they still were like, you need to pay for her, of course. And so she just thought she was going to bring her home and give her comfort care, but actually Coco made a full recovery, and she's beautiful. And we actually think she's going to be a he, so I should probably stop using a gender pronoun of a she. But she's doing great, and so we really wanted people to get the opportunity to get to meet turkeys, because of course we know that they're heavily farmed. But Coco really loves her neck scratch too, so you can actually go ahead and pet her little neck. I know. See how she starts getting sleepy eyes? She loves to have her neck scratched. So cute. Yeah, here. I will show you these a little bit more around the end, but we have these 3 little chicken aviaries. And so Moana and Heihei were just our first chicken residents, and that was before we knew that we would get contacted by about 10 different chickens every day that needed homes, that were wild chickens that had been injured. But they were both raised by people that found them in the wild, as single little baby chicks, and they needed a home for them, so we were able to take them. We do not have the space for that now, though we wish we did. Pomaikai and Andi are both survivors of cockfighting, so when you see them, you'll see they look a lot more different. Yeah, we can actually kind of follow along through here.
There's an animal in the cage.
So yeah, this is Pomaikai and Andi. You can see that they don't have their big red crown, and that's really common with cockfighting. They cut off their crowns. They cut off their wattles.
Oh my.
How? They just use scissors and they cut them right off without any kind of anesthesia. So that's a really common thing that the cockfighters do. Pomaikai has his right eye that you can see. His left eye sometimes is closed, but he we found Pomai just further up the road, on the side of the road. A nice caring neighbor found him, and he was just completely like, just so bloodied up, and just, we didn't think he was going to make it. But roosters are extremely strong, and he made a full recovery. So, but it took a lot. So he's here with his partner Andi. They're completely a bonded pair. They both came from different types of cockfighting abuse, but they live together really well. So you always see, like, we post videos of Andi sleeping under Pomai's wing. It's so cute. I mean, they cuddle. They love each other. And in here is Goober. Goober's totally blind, and he's an egg-laying type of chicken. So a lot of times people will buy baby chicks and they think that they're gonna grow up and be hens and lay them eggs, but if they turn out to be roosters, then they don't want them, right? So that's kind of an issue we get contacted about a lot. But yeah, Goober was having multiple eye infections, and he came from a family that thought he was gonna lay eggs, but he became a rooster. So we were able to bring him here, and the veterinarian had recommended we just end up removing the eyes because he couldn't see them anyway. He couldn't see out of them, and they just kept getting these really bad infections. So volunteers do like a whole, he's one of our special needs, so if they just tap on his food, he knows where everything is in his enclosure, and we don't move things, so he can get around okay. Hello. He had a wifey, but she did pass away, so we are going to be looking for, she was old, birthed us, so we are actually looking for some companion for him.
It's big.
He's very big. And here at the sanctuary too, we always use the pronouns he, she, or they, because sometimes people, when they hear the words it, they think of them as objects. So that's a new thing you can teach people too. Yeah.
What's the thing on the, like, it's like a pole thing?
What, his red thing?
No, on the foot, I see something.
Oh yeah, so they have what they call spurs. You'll see that on the backs of their legs. Also, Pomai, well, you can see his too. So they just grow, and that's kind of like what they use to protect their, in nature, they protect their mama hen and their baby chicks, and they use those spurs to kind of fight off any predators or competition. So they naturally have those, but when people cockfight, they usually end up cutting those so that they can attach a blade to it.
This is Gaia and Felício. Gaia is a sheep, and a little backstory on Gaia. She was rescued from a farm in Waimanalo. Her story, she's actually a pretty big deal. She's a celebrity, and we'll share that here in a little bit on the next slide. She actually had a rope wrapped around one of her back legs, and unfortunately, because of the neglect, her back leg did rot off because of that. She actually had a wheelchair and also a prosthetic, a custom prosthetic made for her so she can actually run around and just enjoy her baby Felício. So baby Felício was born just days, if not weeks, before she was rescued and brought over to the sanctuary. But Felício's on the left, top left, that's baby Felício when he first joined our ohana. And then on the bottom left, that's Gaia in her new prosthetic. But we have a group of TLC volunteers that come, on a daily basis, weekly, and actually put Gaia in her prosthetic. But it took her a little bit to get comfortable because she had adapted to just not having full function of all four legs. Through lots of TLC, lots of snacks, lots of kindness and compassion, she doesn't kick her prosthetic off anymore. So that's a win. And she loves it. She's able to run around with Felício and they'll live their forever life there. Another thing too is our TLC volunteers brush Gaia and Felício. So all the wool that comes off of them, we actually just leave for the birds to come and pick up and take up to create their little nests for their little family too. Gaia she's famous. If you just go out and Google Wizard of Paws. So Derek was the one that created a custom prosthetic for her.
I'm in Oahu, Hawaii, and I'm visiting the Aloha Animal Sanctuary. Hey guys. Hey. Gaia is a sheep who recently lost her back leg and is struggling to walk.
She is just the most patient creature.
She also just had a baby lamb named Felício.
Felício wants to play, and she's just getting totally exhausted trying to keep up.
If the prosthesis is not aligned correctly, she could trip and end up rejecting the device. I'm not going to know until I see her get up on it and hopefully walk.
But you can see the full episode on our website. There's a link to it, so you could just go out there Vi, Anna, Elsa, and Pilly from left to right. And I love, well, all their looks are just precious. I'm going to assume they were probably waiting on some type of, a carrot, a snack, something, because they're super intrigued and, just a perfect moment there. Vi was actually an orphaned wild goat, and he was being sold on Craigslist. So we were able to rescue him and, bring him to the sanctuary. He was actually fostered for some time by one of our volunteers. We call him Goat Dad Brian. Super sweet. He actually fostered him for some time until we rescued Elsa and Anna, which are the two middle ones. Once they were rescued, we started to do an integration to kind of integrate them together so they can spend time together. Elsa, the complete white one, she actually, unknowing to us, so both of those ladies came to us, were rescued from Wahiwa, a goat dairy farm there. And when they were rescued, they were the runts of the litter. So they're tinier, they're more of a liability than anything else. They were just going to be harvested, that were going to be sold for their meat. So they actually surrendered them to us. We brought them to the sanctuary, and one of our volunteers actually noticed Elsa, the white one, completely white one, her belly starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And there was an ultrasound done, and she was actually pregnant. We did not know. And on the right side, that's Pilly, that's her baby, which Pilly is a lot bigger than Elsa, but they're super sweet. They now have another friend who was also rescued, who's not in the picture, but that's Stevie. We absolutely adore them. They're full of personality, so sweet.
And so then over here is Aries and Luna by David, and they're kind of like a bonded couple too, and they were also dropped off and abandoned at the Humane Society as well. So I'm up here because I don't have the best relationship with them. David's down there because he does, and they know that he's dominant and I'm definitely lower.
Mom goes and gets the baby.
Yeah. So, this is where I feel comfortable, but
yeah, we have 600-pound pigs, right?
Yeah.
But the only animal on the whole property that I have a scar from is this thing right here. A small cut on the arm.
Yeah, so they're good fun. But yeah, see, stuff with furs. But we do love them, and our the duck recamper who came to visit us told us you need to socialize with your ducks more. They need to get more human interaction. We're like, okay, we'll do it. But we do, like, the volunteers that bond with them have such a good bond. It's really impressive, and they can give them love anytime. Lolita has a good little thing going with them. Yeah, so Muscovy ducks are a lot more like geese than regular ducks. So they obviously hiss, and they come up and greet you, and they're a lot bigger than the other ducks we might see. So people frequently farm them for their eggs or meat in Hawaii as well. If you go on Craigslist, you can see them for sale everywhere, every which way. They are really good at eating mosquitoes and bugs, so if you are ever looking for some fun little animals to keep, to take care of, and be companion animals, the Muscovy ducks can be really nice at your home too.
No, because I can see you gonna take my finger in your hand.
I would recommend not to. If I was like more knowledgeable and I'm being better with them, I would let you pet, but I'm gonna avoid that. Let's see. Will you let me do this? Will you let me be friendly with you today? Can I take a picture of you? Okay.
Yeah. Or he?
Okay, here, I can let you. You can pet a little bit, but if you go sniff.
I'm sorry. I hope that's your shirt and not your skin.
We just called him Love Nips. Just Love Nips.
You're handsome.
But he knows, see, because if I want to run, but if I do, he's going to be like, I have to act like I'm not afraid.
It's a game.
It's a game. It is like an excitement thing. It is. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, we're coming to check you out. And they do it when we're bringing them their food too. So.
Oh, are you thinking you have that?
It is. It is. Okay, I'm not trying to challenge you right now. Okay.
Oh.
See? I'm not trying to challenge you.
We saw that behavior.
Okay, now I'm gonna go out.
Hello.
That's a duck.
Yes, I don't have any for
We've all met them.
And then we have a full list. Like I said, we have 30 plus residents at the sanctuary. Wish we can share adorable videos and pictures of all of them. We have a full list of all of our residents on our website. You're welcome to go out there and take a look at them, learn a little bit more about their story. Because we are a nonprofit, we are 100% volunteer run. The support through outreach, donations, things like that. We do have sponsorships available for our residents where you get a certificate, a cute little picture, and then you get quarterly updates on the residents. But in this picture, you actually have Haku taking a nap really with a really big smile. So he's probably dreaming something magical. And then we have Palikana on the left, kind of tucked away in the back. We wish we can rescue them all. We wish we had a space. We wish we could do more. And through the need of just receiving multiple requests on a weekly basis about farmed animals who needed help and protection, we did end up creating a Facebook page. So it's a community where we knew we didn't have the space and all the resources, all the means to rescue, but we wanted to bring the community together to create a space where like-minded individuals can come together and support each other. And I know that there's been various, from piggies to roosters to chickens to just various animals that have been rescued, farmed animals that have been rescued and found forever homes. So this is a Facebook page that we manage and encourage the community to post there, because there may be where others might be able to rescue or provide a home for an animal in need.
There's so many animals that need help. And the unfortunate thing is that farmed animals really don't have resources. So if you find a little baby orphaned pig on the side of the road, it's not that you can take them to the Humane Society. The Humane Society can't be treating them. They don't, so they really have nothing. And so these Good Samaritans or animal lovers are just people that maybe don't even love animals, but they don't have the heart to leave an animal, abandoned. They are without any resources. So it's really hard. And, we are completely we're volunteer run. We don't have any paid positions. So it's not something that we don't have a huge budget. So it's something we want to develop and grow, but we're at the very beginning of this.
Growth and expansion. So we have many, many projects that are 100% volunteer run. We have a group of some amazing managers that lead our TLC group, our animal caretakers, our habitat care team. And we also have, a group of directors, Amy, who does our director of facilities, and Corey, director of development, Hannah, our co-founder and director of animal care. We all come together as a group to really look at the long-term sustainability, not necessarily immediately, but also long-term. And this is when we look at growth as an organization, as we're building programs, we wish we could do more, and how we will continue to forward our mission and vision is by looking at that, long-term sustainability through strategic planning. So that is one of our goals that we're doing now, is really looking at where we're at and where we want to be in 3 to 5 years, and how can we sustain this being a non-for-profit, 100% volunteer run organization that we gain support from our community through various outlets, from financial contributions to lots of love and coming out and helping us volunteer. So we're very, very grateful for the organization, and our goal right now is to look at where we're at and where we want to head to. One of those specifically being is, we're 2 acres. We're 2 acres mighty, I like to say. And our hope is to acquire more land. Our hope is to acquire our neighbor's land, it's one acre. And we're hoping that this can be something that in the coming future that we can acquire through hopefully fundraising partnerships, things like that, so we can provide more space and be able to rescue more farmed animals. And then also another area that we're pursuing when it comes to growth and expansion is pursuing grant funding. So this is an area that there's many opportunities out there. Any introductions, any connections, this is an area that we want to maximize, especially as we look at acquiring land and continuing to provide a space for education and providing resources to our community, both local and globally.
Can you remind us how much he's asking for the land? I believe our neighbor is selling it for something like 400,000. I mean, they said, I feel like we're very transparent at the sanctuary, and you'll be seeing us fundraising for it soon.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have no issues saying what we're going to need to raise. I think it's right now, we're looking at 400,000 maybe, but we're really working on that.
Yes,
You know.
yeah, anywhere from 400,000 to 500,000. So volunteers, we are 100% volunteer run. I'm always just overwhelmed in a good way of just the skill, the talent, the passion, the compassion, the kindness of the community just coming together and going, I will do all this, in addition to having a full-time job, being a full-time student, doing both, just sharing their gifts with the sanctuary.
Just put a little bit of land and a lamp. And just a little dust of lamp.
Anywhere from social media, when you see all those adorable reels and adorable posts and website management, that's Jess's team. When we see I wish I could name them all, but just knowing that we're surrounded by an amazing community that just is genuine to promoting a kind and compassionate community is always heartwarming. And I'm always happy to see the support from all of our volunteer and our partners. So I'm sure many of you are wondering, how do I get involved with this amazing community and support the residents, and, what can I do? So we have various volunteer opportunities, both virtual, so admin work, also on-site volunteer work. So we have weekly volunteer opportunities, from TLC volunteer or animal caretakers to habitat care, community volunteer days. We do have public community volunteer days. We have private group volunteer events that we do as well, from Girl Scouts to corporate events or other organizations that want to come out and do different team builders with the organization. So you go to our website, or you can send us an email, which is at info. So if you just do info@alohasanctuary.org. If you go out there, if you're interested in volunteering either a weekly, role, or if you're looking more on the admin side, we have one of our volunteer manager. She's actually lives off island. So there's various ways where you can volunteer and support the sanctuary. So we always welcome you. And then another program that we offer at the sanctuary, and another way to get involved, is our work trade program. So you can go directly to our website and you can actually sign up to get involved in this program. So what this program is we have interested applicants from around the world apply and actually live on site. We look for a 3-month commitment. The volunteer comes out, works 4 to 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday. There is a food stipend that's included. Various tasks, from animal care taker tasks to compost management and special projects, and as things come up on a daily basis. The work trade actually lives on site for free in exchange to volunteering their time at the sanctuary. So if this is something that you're interested, just go out to our website and you can apply. We do, like I mentioned, we have people from around the world that apply. And then support the sanctuary. So we have from monthly contributions through Patreon, anywhere as little as $1 a month, makes a big difference. So this helps us. Many of our expenses, our highest expenses, are really feeding our residents, and then any potential vet care for our residents as well. We do have some vets that, at times they can volunteer their expertise, but most of the time we do have to pay for vet care for the residents. So that's one way to contribute, is through Patreon. Through that monthly contribution, you kind of get insider information, or you get exclusive photos, of our residents, and much, much more through that platform. And then another way that you can support us is A Billion. So A Billion is an app you can actually download for free on your phone. You think of Yelp and Instagram coming together and having a baby. That is the best way for me to describe it. Is you post similar to Instagram and you review similar to Yelp. And that would be any vegan, plant-based, or cruelty-free products. And through that, for every review, A Billion then awards you $1. And then let's say that you have 200 reviews, that's valued at $200, you can then select an organization you would like to donate that to. We are one of a Billion's partners, so we are listed as an organization that you can contribute or donate to. We invite you to consider downloading the app and reviewing products that you probably consume already, or even could just go through your pantry and refrigerator and probably find quite a bit of them and support us that way. And then of course, Venmo and PayPal, we always welcome donations. And then a few other ways to support the sanctuary, merchandise opportunities. We just launched anywhere it's from like tote bags to coffee mugs and things like that. You can go out to the website and just order online and it'll be mailed directly to you. Amazon Smile, we do have a wish list out on Amazon. We have an Amazon wish list, and then also through Amazon Smile. It's another way to contribute. Or I guess both, you could just mail us a check and then that's our address there. So we welcome any and all, support you can provide to the sanctuary. Last but not least, one of the co-founders, now board of directors, Anchi, started a spa at the sanctuaries. Go to the website, you can go to the Instagram page, you can sign up, book your appointment, and 15% of the profits go back to the sanctuary to support the residents.
How has COVID-19 affected the sanctuary? Thank you for asking that, because we started the sanctuary just in the beginning of 2019. So we really only had 1 year of the sanctuary not being in existence in a pandemic. We were really fortunate that in that first couple of years, we did like heavy fundraising, but our donations that have been coming in have been going down, unfortunately, just with the status of the economy and where people are at. That's kind of a trend we're seeing in all animal sanctuaries across the globe. Our animal sponsors did go down a lot. So it is just a really good time to continue to sponsor, to help fundraise and donate to animal welfare organizations, because we have been taking a hit from the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's unfortunate. So it is something that we are actively working to correct. That's why we're going to be doing our gala, and we're always trying to diversify all of our income because of things like COVID. It also affected us too by having, just like everybody else, if you have COVID, you can't come in to the sanctuary to do your volunteer shifts. So then we're having some volunteer shortages too, but we were really creative about it. And we were really lucky because the sanctuary is completely outdoors. So it was a much lower risk than say an office setting. Is there a statewide organization group of the various animal sanctuaries like Leilani Farm Sanctuary, Ohana Animal Sanctuary, Boo Boo Zoo? I also want to name a couple of our other sanctuaries too on Big Island Farm Sanctuary and Magical Creatures of Hamakua. We've been working with them a lot over the last couple of years. They've given us so much advice. And so to answer your question, is there a statewide organization or group? No, there is not. That would be a really great thing for us to do, to maybe create like a coalition or some kind of something like that, but we do work closely with a few of the other animal sanctuaries across the islands. We didn't even cover one of our biggest endeavors, but we actually did fly 6 piglets from here to the Big Island to some of the farm sanctuaries there that did have the space and more land. And so we've collaborated with them like that in the past. So we would really like to continue doing that. Just to give you a little bit of to understand it. On the Big Island farm sanctuaries have like 25 to 50 acres. We have 2 acres here. So they have different issues where they have a very hard time getting volunteers because they're in these remote locations, and they have a harder time therefore having events and getting donations, versus because we're more in the city, we get more exposure. So it's just, we definitely need to continue to work together and, maximize what each of our assets are.
While we were there, we saw the little chickens with the GPS devices on their legs. And I was wondering if you'd like to explain that project.
Okay, the GPS tracking devices. So we have, like all of Hawaii, lots of wild chickens at the sanctuary. And so it is a huge labor of love for us. We actually are doing all that we can to make sure that our wild chicken population doesn't continue growing and taking over, although we love them. So every month we are collecting their eggs, and we remove them as birth control, and then we compost them so that they don't grow into baby chicks, which grow into chickens. And then the problem we run into is that then they have lots of diseases or they get injured. And so that's the GPS tracking plays into that, because some of them are very, very good at hiding their nests. And so sometimes those GPS trackers can help us locate them, as well as just we've become so attached to our wild chicken population. So some of them, if they are not there for a day, we want to know where they are so we can find them and make sure that they're not hurt or that they don't need some kind of a care. So, but yeah, it's really hilarious because you'll come to the sanctuary and you'll start seeing these little anklets, and they're their GPS trackers. We love our chickens.
And just to add to that, thank you, Jess. To add, we do go through a candling process. I'm sure some of you may think, since we're collecting eggs, we do go through a candling process, and we have developed kind of a process of, how far along is there evidence of a chick? And if there is evidence of a chick, then we will put it back. But if there's clearly no evidence, we have the candling lights. And then we do collect data to determine where around the sanctuary property are we seeing more nests laid. We've also purchased nesting boxes to encourage our hens to actually lay them in there so we don't rely on the GPS. So it is, like Jess mentioned, it is a labor of love, but our goal is to, look creatively, but also keeping that peace in mind of the candling and where, that egg is from an embryonic development perspective. But great question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will add to, we could talk so much about this. We did even try the birth control. We had tried looking into those kinds of solutions too. I mean, we really tried looking so deeply into this issue, but it's just, this is the best thing that we could come up with is what we're doing now, because we've been looking, and trust me, we've been researching, but what we're doing right now, it's working well. So we're going to continue with our GPS.
Do you have any veterinarians donating their time and their efforts?
We do. We have a few veterinarians that we consult frequently. Our director of animal care, Hannah, works very closely with those veterinarians, and they can give advice. And then when an animal, that's just when it's something very like minor. But then if, of course, they're needing a higher level of care, we just usually utilize feather and fur a lot for our feathered friends. And then we do have some vets that will come on site for our other residents when they need it. But we try as much as we can to not rack up really expensive veterinarian costs. But of course, the animals' well-being always comes first.
Oh, I just wanted to ask about the produce you get from donating businesses such as Down to Earth.
How did we forget that? There's so many. We do. So Down to Earth, we have a group of volunteers that pick up produce on a weekly basis, 3 times a day, or 3 times a week, I should say. So Down to Earth in Kailua has been so kind to us, to where they're actually separating the produce, because there's certain, produce that, certain residents cannot eat. But they're so sweet, where we provide the buckets and they just put them in, they put the produce in there, and then our volunteers pick it up and come to the sanctuary and deliver it. And I can tell you that sometimes the residents have more of a colorful dinner or breakfast than I do. Like, it is so colorful and just so rich. But we're very grateful for Down to Earth and their partnership, specifically the Kailua location, and just being open and willing to donate.
Yeah, and they even supported us in getting our merchandise in their stores. They've come out and done volunteer days with us. Some of the banana plants on the property were brought from the Down to Earth employees from their farms that they brought to the sanctuary. So it's been like an amazing partnership from day one. So grateful for them.
Oh, did you mention the long walk that you have, the run that you have the pigs be able to use?
Yeah, the pig enclosure is so cool. It's hard to really capture it in a video or a photo, but it is from the top of the property where it's elevated and their house is. Then it's connected to the bottom of the property by this really long, like piggy alley, and that piggy corridor, whatever you want to call it. And it takes them down to this about 1 acre large grassy pasture. And down in that pasture, they have just all these little pig burrows going through the big tall grass, and they have wallows, and it's totally human proof. It's just their little pig Disneyland down there. So it's really cool to have that for them. In the wintertime, our property, you know, we're in Kahaluu, we get a lot of rain. So that bottom part of our property does get some flooding. And so sometimes we do have to have them, okay, now you guys have to stay up in the upper pasture for these few days while it dries out. And so it's nice that we have that space. And that also leads me into why sometimes people come and they think, well, you have all this space, why can't you keep adding more pigs? But the reality is that pigs really, they need so much more space than we're used to seeing them in. I mean, we're so used to seeing them in farm settings where they're just crammed into pens. And what we have right now is the best balance we found. So we have 6 pigs total, and they have about that acre to roam, and we need it. And sometimes we feel like we need more for them because they're just so good at churning up the ground and making it into mud. And they're the best little construction workers.
Yes, they are.
Keepers.
I also noticed one more thing, and I saw that this is true at Leilani Farm Sanctuary in Maui as well, that the sanctuary tries to grow a lot of its own food too, plant as many edible plants as possible, and saw some really nice plants at Aloha Animal Sanctuary, such as your ulu tree and so on.
Yeah,
Yep.
from papayas to bananas to ulu to, let's see, what else do we have? I've seen some tomato plants at one point. We do sugarcane, mangoes, we have mangoes.
Yeah, it's a mission of ours to try to have the sanctuary be like a big edible garden, like where most of the plants that we have are edible or native. So that we have a whole team dedicated to that. It's a huge endeavor too, because the sanctuary is so big. So, but it's something we want to definitely keep doing so we can then, use that food it's a kind of a dream to use that food for our events, to feed back to our volunteers, feed the extras to the animals, and just have that symbiotic relationship going with the land. Something we want to continue. Again, we just want to say thank you for coming, and I hope it was helpful and informational and maybe a little inspirational, but we're just really grateful to have this community, so thank you.
I just want to thank you both, Lolita and Jessica. Wow, what an inspirational, heartwarming story. I'm so glad that you people did this, because if you hadn't done it, I don't know who could. I know a lot of people's hearts were into creating an animal sanctuary on Oahu here, but you're the first to really establish a true nonprofit organization, and you're able to get the land and secure it and do a lot of other things, because I'd like to say that a lot of other people did some great things in the intervening years, and I'd like to thank them for what they did. While not taking away anything from your amazing achievement. Thank you so much.